Hey everyone, Chris here. I'm really enjoying my PlayStation 5, and I thought what I would do is highlight 3 games that I've been playing that I think are worth talking about and are interesting. This is not meant to be a review video, it's more of an impressions and just sort of sharing my thoughts type of thing. But if you've played these games, I'd love to hear your comments, so please be sure to chime in the comments below. Hey, if you're enjoying the video, please be sure to like, please be sure to subscribe, and then also on Twitter, you can reach me at Dr. Chris Flowers, and I'd love to talk with you there as well. I also wanted to just give a brief shout out to Aaron Mason, who commented on one of my other videos asking for a shout out, and so Aaron, there it is. So 2 of the games that I wanted to talk about are actually part of PS Plus this month, and so the first game on that list is Control. So I had actually previously downloaded Control on my Xbox Series S because it's part of Game Pass and was looking forward to playing that, but then I found out that it's actually going to come to PS5 and it's the Ultimate version, which has better graphics, some updated features that maybe weren't there for the initial release, and because things like ray tracing are supported, it has a performance mode of 60 FPS and all of that. I thought, okay, well, even though I downloaded it on Game Pass, I can just delete it. That's the good thing about Game Pass. You can sort of dabble in games and get rid of them if you don't want to play them. And so I downloaded that on my PS5, and so far, I've really been enjoying it. The one thing I'll say about this game is that, I'm a few hours into it, and I couldn't tell you if you back me into a corner what the plot really is about. So it's got sort of the sci-fi aesthetic, and if you've played it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think one of the things that I love about the game so far is the presentation. It feels like sort of a Kubrick movie, a Stanley Kubrick movie meets, Stranger Things, meets X-Files, meets something like that. So in that regard, it's really something that's right up my alley, and actually it controls really well, no pun intended. But the shooting feels good in it. The mechanic where you can, use sort of telekinesis to throw items at enemies and control things that way is great. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. Again, I'm just a couple of hours into it. I don't know how I'll enjoy it as things go on, but so far, I think it's a really fun game. It looks really good on the PlayStation 5. So I'm looking forward to finishing that one, hopefully sooner rather than later. The other game that I've been playing a little bit of, and I've only just played a few sort of online matches of this so far, but that's Destruction AllStars or Destruction Derby AllStars. I can't remember exactly what it is, and I'll amend that where needed on the screen. Again, that's a PlayStation Plus game. And it kind of reminds me of Rocket League. It's sort of this arcade racer where, it starts out and you're in an arena and you play it online with other people. And I think there is an arcade mode. I haven't really done that beyond finishing the tutorial that is part of the game. But you start out in an arena outside of your car. Everyone rushes when the horn goes off to find a car. You get in your vehicle and you try to cause as much destruction and damage as possible, and that's how you win. So if there's anything that I think is a little bit of a knock against this game is that I think it's a little bit sort of abstract in terms of, how much damage you get or deal for certain types of hits. So there have been times where I'm playing it and I'm using sort of my dash mechanic to really sort of broadside somebody and hit them head on hard, and it does more damage to me, or it doesn't maybe deal as much damage as I thought that it would. So to me, it's maybe not as good as something like Rocket League, which I think has a more tangible goal, right? I mean, you've got a soccer ball, you're trying to score goals and points that way. This is a little bit more nebulous, I think, and kind of up in the air in terms of how many points you get and for doing certain things. And so it's a little bit tough to sort of, figure out, well, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? There are things you can do when you're outside of the car, such as collect shards, crystal shards, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure what they do quite yet because I've only played a few matches of this online, but I think it's good that it's a PS Plus game. I would have been disappointed, quite frankly, if I had paid any kind of fee for it, which I guess with PS Plus I am paying a fee, but if I had paid, let's say $20 for the game, that maybe would not have been something that went over well, at least based on what I've played so far. So I think it's an enjoyable distraction, but at this point I haven't really sort of dug into it and loved it in the way that I thought that I would. But we'll see how that goes over the next couple of weeks as I keep playing it. So the last game that I wanted to highlight that I've been really enjoying a lot is Sackboy, right? And so if you played Little Big Planet, you're familiar with that character. And I just got to say, it's a really well-constructed, really charming platformer. And it doesn't operate like something along sort of the Mario or Mario Odyssey line might. It's a little more floaty in terms of how you play it, which can be a little bit frustrating at times. There's some precision involved, and it's hard to really sort of pin that down based on how the game feels. But it does make good use of the DualSense controller in that there's a lot of sound and things that sort of come from that, and makes it a more immersive experience than it might otherwise be. But it's one of those games that you can just sort of pick up and play a few levels of and enjoy, and not be too wrapped up in, or so wrapped up in, that you feel like you have to keep going and can't put it down and pick it back up a little bit later. So I think out of all the games I've been playing on my PS5 recently, that's probably my favorite one. I think the best game in general that I've played on the PlayStation 5 since I've purchased the system was Immortals Fenyx Rising. That is a fantastic game, I think, regardless of platform. I'm sure on the Switch it obviously is not going to be as high fidelity or perform quite as well, but overall, that's the game that I've enjoyed the most on the PS5 so far, and that does include Miles Morales, which was a great game, and I did play that through to story completion, but so far, Immortals has been the game that I've really enjoyed the most on my PlayStation 5. So again, here we are 2 months after the launch of the system, and I have not been disappointed by it at all. I think it's great. I think it's still obviously coming into its own. It's early. There are a lot of games, big games on the horizon, no pun intended there either, that are certainly going to bolster it as time goes on. But those are some of the games that I've been playing thus far, and I'd love to hear what you've been playing and what you think about these games. Again, these aren't supposed to be reviews, but just kind of my impressions and a quick sort of tour of what I've been enjoying on the system. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Soon I'm going to do the same type of video with my Xbox Series S, and I also plan to do this with the Nintendo Switch, which I think has sort of been put on the back burner for a lot of people since these next gen, or I guess now current gen consoles have emerged. But stay tuned for that, and again, thanks for watching.